What's going on, everyone? So, I was talking about the center position and kind of the way Lakers could solve it. I've talked about, kind of focusing on free agency, right? Can you get a Clint Capella and a Jericho Sims, right? Now, I think if you want that clear cut starter, that clear cut, like, hey, this is the guy, right, for now in the next X amount of years, you're going to have to make a trade. It's going to have to be a trade, right? It's the best option. It's the only way. Like the free agents that are available, very limited as far as like the upper end talent pool for what you'd be looking for, particularly at the center spot. But, the backup role, I do think that there are several options. I mean, you kind of pick from the litter at that point, right? And there are arguments to be made for multiple guys, right? And we all kind of have our preferences and our kind of thoughts of like, oh, what about this guy or what about that guy or, absolutely not. Stay away from Brook Lopez or no, go get Brook Lopez, right? But at the end of the day, I think particularly with the backup center position, right, it's going to boil down to who's the cheapest, right? Which of these centers look at the Lakers and go, that's where I want to go and I'll do it for less? Because that's really what it's going to boil down to. Now, there are several factors that could dictate. One, it could just be the player themselves. They're like, I just want to be a Laker, right? Or I want to be in LA. Right? Or, a guy like Brook Lopez who loved LA, didn't want to leave LA to begin with. He's kind of in the last leg of his career. He's only got probably so many years left. Does he look at it and go like, hey, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to retire. Got a home there, all that stuff. We just go to Lakers. I'll take the vet minimum, play for another year or two, right? And then take it from there, right? And maybe that's the only guy and everyone else is like, nah, I'm trying to get the bag. I'm trying to get the money. And it's like, well, that's all we got. We're going to go trade for this guy over here. And then we're going to sign Brook Lopez and he's going to come in and be our backup and, be our backup center, which fine. Okay. Right. If he's willing to take a vet minimum deal, then fine, do that. Right. Now, again, there could be, just the market. It's just like, I could go, like, I just don't have a market. I could go make, vet minimum here, or I can make a vet minimum with the Lakers and I'd probably get a bigger role, right? Role is a big thing, right? Go to a team, be like, hey, we'll give you $5 million, but you're going to be, on mini nights our third big, or you're going to get DNPs, or you're going to get whatever. Where with the Lakers, it's like, I go to there, and instead of $5 million, I could take, $2.5 million on a vet minimum and, I'll get at least 20 minutes a night, right? Like, rather have that than like this fluctuation of like, I don't know when I'm going to play. And then, when their starter gets the night off or whatever, boom, I can jump in and be in the starting role, right? So opportunity and then just fit. Like, there's some guys that are just like, hey, like the Lakers would probably be the best fit for me, right? Like, you look at a guy like Clint Capella, he might look at it and go like, hey, if I have to be a backup regardless, I'd rather be a backup to Luka, who's going to make me look good. Maybe I just take a 1-year deal and then, now I'm in a position to where I'm maybe getting a better contract elsewhere. Or I'm sticking with the Lakers and at least, I'm looking good the whole time. Now, at least I'm getting my stats and I'm getting my attempts and whatnot because I'm just playing and plugging in and filling this role slotted alongside Luka. Right. So like that could be a big thing. And then you also have the potential of just like prove it deals, right? Like sticking with Clint Capella, for example, right? If Clint Capella's market is like backup vet minimum, right? He could look at it as like, okay, well, I could be a backup vet minimum on, whatever, Charlotte, or I could be a backup vet minimum on the Lakers. And one, I'd rather be in LA, or two, right? Lakers are going to give me a bigger spotlight. You've seen several players use the Lakers as this kind of platform because it has the brightest lights and gives you the most attention. And if you play well in LA, guess what? You're going to be looked at in a higher regard by the media and fans and, outside entities and all that stuff. And then you would be on one of these random teams. And you've seen guys like Malik Monk, for example, just go get a bag because, he was really good and was undervalued and took less than what he was offered, like $5 million less than what he was offered. But it was like, hey, I'm gonna bet on myself, right? And usually it's a young guy, right? So somebody like a Jericho Sims could come in and be like, hey, like probably only gonna get a vet minimum anywhere. Might as well go with the Lakers. And if I'm really good for the Lakers, and I'm gonna have Luka making me look good, right? Like maybe I can get the spotlight and go from even a vet minimum to 7-8 million a year could be great for me. Right? Like that would be a great position to be in. Right? So you might get one of these young guys, but also again, there's vets. There's vet guys that are like, again, a Clint Capella that's like, like I still have probably 3 to 5 years left of good basketball, right? Like I just kind of like Atlanta kind of went with the youth movement, which is understandable. That's fine. But I'd be really good on a veteran team. I'd be really helpful on a veteran team. But I want to get my value up. I want to be paid. I want to be on a contender. I want to do this and that. Let me go to the Lakers. Right? Let me go play and have Luka make me look great and buy in and go average, 12 and 10 off the bench. And now everyone's like, oh, I mean, look at it like Andre Drummond, for example, right? Not necessarily with the Lakers because he ended up getting hurt and that was it, which I also think is funny. Like everyone's just like, I don't know if people like forget Andre Drummond with the Lakers because it was such a short stint, right? Say that 10 times fast. She sells by the seashore, right? But I don't know if it's because it was such a short stint that like people just forget Andre Drummond on the Lakers, but he averaged like 12 and 10 with like 1.5 blocks, 1.5 steals, and like an assist per game. And, like 20, whatever it was, 25 minutes per game. It wasn't even like 30 minutes per game. It's like 25 minutes per game and like 21 games or whatever it was. I'm like doing it off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure you fact checked me. It's probably pretty close. Probably like within, like right there. But I know for sure he averaged a double-double, right? So, I mean, you're talking about a guy that like was actually really good with the Lakers. He just ended up getting a toe injury and it kind of set him back. But I digress. Point is, look at a guy like Andre Drummond who like bought and accepted a bench role and he's been like ideal. Like teams want him, right? I mean, he'd be great on the Lakers. And we're all kind of like, there was like Lakers were like, hey, we'll take you back in a bench role because he like found his spot. He found his role. He bought into his role and he just kind of accepted like, hey, this is where I'm at now in my career. And sometimes it takes that. Sometimes teams need that, right? And, he's done 5 stints with Philly now, right? Like he just, he's kind of went to another place for a moment, went to Chicago for a little bit, but he's now a $5 million a year guy getting that same contract every time, right? Year in and year out, and teams want him and he's sought after and, he plays a role and he does great. He's one of the better backups in all of basketball. And it's just like, he played a role, right? So again, maybe a guy like Clint Capella is like, hey, I'll just settle into that role. Come in, be an 8-8 guy, which is what Andre Drummond basically is now. Come in, be an 8-8 guy in like 20 minutes of action, right? Block a shot, get you a steal, get you an assist, grab, 3 offensive rebounds in that time and, give me a contract. So really at the end of the day, it's probably going to boil down to like, who's the cheapest, right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking of like these centers in a backup role. Again, if you really want a clear-cut starter, you're going to have to pull off a trade. But outside of a clear-cut starter, if you're just looking for somebody to kind of fill in the gaps, then there's several options. But I think ultimately it'll boil down to like, who's the cheapest option. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Feel your thoughts, scream me, just scream me, kind of mix in the middle. How you feel either way? I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.